Most people think they know what blood type O means. The universal donor, the safe, simple category that saves lives in emergencies. But when artificial intelligence recently reanalyzed vast amounts of genetic and medical data, the story of O turned out to be far stranger than expected. Hidden patterns, surprising health links, and evolutionary secrets are rewriting what we thought was settled science. Let's dive right in because you might never look at blood the same way again. Blood type O, the basics, but with a deeper dive. When you hear blood type O, chances are your mind jumps to one of two things. It's either the universal donor, or simply the most common blood type. And that's not wrong. But the real story of O blood is richer, more curious, and a lot less boring than a textbook explanation. Thanks to decades of research and now artificial intelligence combing through massive medical datasets, we know that O is full of oddities that don't quite fit the simple label it's been given. Let's quickly recap the basics. Human blood is grouped into four main types under the ABO system: A, B, AB, and O. These categories come down to tiny chemical markers, antigens, sitting on the surface of your red blood cells. Think of them like little flags waving on the outside of each cell. Type A has the A antigen. Type B has the B antigen. Type AB wears both. And type O, well, O shows up to the party without any flags at all. That's why scientists often call it the null blood type. It looks blank, like a cell without any identifying badge. This blankness is actually what makes O so valuable in medicine. Because O blood doesn't carry the A or B antigens, the immune systems of most patients don't freak out when O-type blood is transfused into them. Imagine trying to show your ID somewhere, but not having one. It can be used without issues. That's how O earned the title, universal donor, in emergency rooms around the world. When doctors don't have time to figure out someone's blood type, maybe someone's just come in after a car wreck and needs blood now, they reach for O negative. The safest bet. It's been a silent lifesaver for decades. But here's where things get way more interesting. O blood isn't just a humanitarian all-star. Genetically, it's also a fascinating mutation. Scientists believe the O-type developed when a gene responsible for producing the A or B antigens lost a chunk of its instructions, effectively being deleted thousands of years ago. In other words, O didn't come first. It's more like the rebel child of the blood type family. Yet today, O has become the most common blood type on the planet. Roughly 45% of people in the US are type O. And in some regions of South America, that number can climb to nearly 100%. Clearly, being blank has its perks. And here's a fun twist. O isn't the most common everywhere. In parts of Asia, type B is surprisingly dominant. In certain pockets of India, A takes the lead. These variations in global blood type distribution give us fascinating clues about human migration, survival, and even disease resistance. For example, in regions historically plagued by malaria, blood type O seems to have offered a significant advantage. People with O were less likely to suffer severe, life-threatening malaria, giving them a survival edge that helped the type spread through populations over thousands of years. It was naturally selected for, like having longer necks for giraffes. Of course, O blood has its own quirks and risks. While it may protect against certain diseases like malaria and even lower the risk of some clotting issues, it also makes people more vulnerable to others, like stomach ulcers caused by Helicobacter pylori. In other words, nature rarely gives out free passes. There's always a trade-off. Everything in moderation, including even good things. But what really shakes things up today is AI's entry into the picture. For decades, blood typing was pretty straightforward. Are you A, B, or O? Positive or negative? Done. Simple. But artificial intelligence is now sifting through massive global databases, spotting patterns invisible to human researchers. And it turns out, even within the seemingly blank category of O, there are hidden variations, subtle molecular differences, and unexplored connections to health outcomes that science is only just beginning to uncover. It's like opening a matryoshka doll. There are more layers than meets the eye. While we've always thought of O as the basic, no frills, blood type, it's increasingly looking like the opposite. A genetic story full of survival, mystery, and unexpected complexity. And AI is finally pulling back the curtain. It's like having a new, more powerful microscope. Prepare yourself. Alright, so we know blood type O as the universal donor. But AI is showing us there's a lot more under the hood than we ever suspected. I'm talking about hidden subtypes, evolutionary advantages, and secrets to survival that are rewriting what we thought we knew about this seemingly simple blood type. For years, we've lumped everyone with type O into one big category, assuming their blood was essentially identical. But that's where AI comes in and throws a wrench into things. By analyzing massive datasets of genetic and molecular information, AI has revealed that there are actually subtle, but significant, subtypes within blood type O. These subtypes, these variations, don't always behave the same way. Think of it like this. Imagine you're a coffee connoisseur. You might think you love coffee, but then you discover there's Robusta, Arabica, Liberica, and Excelsa, each with its unique flavor profile and growing conditions. Suddenly, coffee becomes a whole world of subtle differences. It's the same with blood type O. These subtle differences are enough to matter when it comes to how our bodies interact with diseases, our vulnerability to certain infections, and even our responses to medications. One of the most fascinating aspects is how these O subtypes interact with infectious diseases. Now, we already knew that people with O blood seem to be less susceptible to severe malaria. This is likely a major reason why type O became so prevalent in regions where malaria was a historical scourge. The malaria parasite just has a harder time latching onto red blood cells in people with type O blood. But AI has taken this understanding to a whole new level. AI analysis has revealed that certain O subtypes offer even stronger protection against malaria than others. It's like having a super-powered version of the O protection. But that's not all. AI has also uncovered connections between certain O subtypes and resistance to cholera. Cholera, a devastating disease that has caused countless deaths throughout human history, seems to be less severe in individuals with specific O variations. It's all about the specific molecular makeup of the blood and how it interacts with the cholera bacteria. However, it's not all sunshine and roses for all the O subtypes. Some of these subtypes may actually increase vulnerability to certain viral infections. For example, some O variations appear to make people more susceptible to severe norovirus infections. You know, that nasty stomach bug that can sweep through schools and cruise ships like wildfire. It seems that certain O subtypes can be a bit more vulnerable to that particular virus. The COVID-19 pandemic really threw fuel on the fire. Early studies suggested that individuals with type O blood might be somewhat less likely to experience severe COVID-19 symptoms compared to people with type A or type AB blood. But then AI came along and added a layer of complexity. AI-powered deep learning models, analyzing massive hospital datasets, confirmed the general trend. But they also showed that not all O types benefited equally. Remember those hidden subgroups AI revealed? Well, they made a real difference in COVID-19 outcomes. In other words, saying, "Oh, blood protects against COVID," is a massive oversimplification. It's far more nuanced than that. Some O subtypes fared better than others. And it took the power of AI to sift through millions of medical records to pinpoint those differences. But why did type O become so common in the first place? I mean, it started as a genetic mistake. A missing piece in the gene that codes for the A or B antigens. Logically, you'd expect it to be rare, perhaps even disappear over time, but the opposite happened. Type O spread like wildfire and became the dominant blood type in many parts of the world. Clearly, something about type O gave humans a survival edge. One prominent theory suggests that type O offered survival advantages against infectious diseases. As mentioned before, red blood cell antigens aren't just random decorations. They influence how pathogens interact with our bodies. The malaria parasite, for example, tends to latch onto antigens on red blood cells. People with type O blood, lacking those handles, were simply harder targets. Studies have shown that individuals with type O are less likely to suffer the deadliest complications of malaria, such as cerebral malaria. This could explain why type O is so prevalent in Africa and other historically malaria-heavy regions. But malaria isn't the only disease that played a role. Cholera, another historical killer, also seems to have shaped blood type distribution. Research suggests that individuals with type O are more prone to severe dehydration from cholera. That sounds like a disadvantage, right? And yet, type O still flourished in areas where cholera was common. Why? Well, this is where it gets really interesting and complicated. Some scientists argue that while type O carriers may have been hit harder by cholera outbreaks, they may also have been more resistant to other diseases circulating at the same time. Think of it as an evolutionary trade-off. Maybe type O made you a little more susceptible to cholera, but it also gave you an edge against some other deadly disease that we haven't even identified yet. It's all about survival of the fittest. And in the long run, the benefits of type O outweighed the risks. Then there's the question of whether type O was the original blood type. For years, textbooks hinted that type O might have come first, with A and B developing later. After all, type O is the most common. Shouldn't it be the root? Well, genetic analysis suggests otherwise. Type A is likely the ancestral blood type, with type O arising from a mutation in the ABO gene thousands of years ago. Still, once it appeared, type O spread rapidly. AI-driven population genetics models now suggest that type O's success was partly due to random chance, but also heavily influenced by natural selection. In simple terms, being type O made you more likely to survive certain epidemics. So the trait kept getting passed on. And geography plays a huge role as well. In South and Central America, type O dominates almost completely. In some indigenous populations, the frequency of type O blood is close to 100%. How did that happen? Theories point to migration patterns. When humans crossed into the Americas thousands of years ago, the small founding populations carried high percentages of type O. And over generations, it became the overwhelming majority. In contrast, parts of Asia show more balance between A, B, and O. hinting at different survival pressures and migrations. What's really mind-blowing is how AI is adding new twists to these evolutionary puzzles. By analyzing DNA from ancient remains and comparing them with modern genomes, AI is helping scientists trace how blood types shifted across thousands of years. It's like watching a time-lapse of human survival strategies. In some cases, it even shows how wars, plagues, and mass migrations reshaped the blood type map of entire continents. Type O wasn't just a passive passenger in human history. It was part of the story of who lived, who died, and who passed on their genes. So next time you hear someone casually say, "Oh, I'm just type O," remember this. It's not just type O anymore. It's a complex mosaic of subtypes, evolutionary advantages, and hidden secrets that are just beginning to be unveiled. And AI is leading the charge, rewriting what we thought we knew about this seemingly simple blood type. Okay, let's dive into the real heart of the matter. How blood type O interacts with your health. It's a complex relationship, a double-edged sword if you will. And AI is finally shedding light on the strengths, weaknesses, and the potential for a future where medicine is truly personalized. Forget the myths you've heard. We're talking hard data here. First, let's tackle some common misconceptions. You've probably encountered the idea that people with blood type O are somehow naturally healthier, stronger, or even more resilient. The internet is full of claims about warrior blood and inherent advantages. While O does have certain protective qualities, the reality is far more nuanced. Nature rarely hands out free passes. Thanks to a combination of decades of medical research and AI's ability to sift through massive datasets, we're getting a much clearer picture of O's influence on health. Let's start with one of O's most well-known vulnerabilities: stomach ulcers. If you're blood type O, you're significantly more likely to develop ulcers caused by Helicobacter pylori, the bacteria responsible for inflaming the stomach lining. Studies show that O individuals face a 30 to 40% higher risk compared to those with A or B. Why? The prevailing theory suggests that the absence of A and B antigens on O blood cells might somehow influence the way the immune system interacts with H. pylori, essentially making it easier for the bacteria to colonize the stomach. Not exactly the warrior advantage the internet likes to tout, is it? Now, for the good news. On the flip side, blood type O appears to offer a degree of protection against certain cardiovascular problems. Research indicates that people with type O often have lower levels of von Willebrand factor and other clotting proteins in their blood. This might sound like medical jargon, but here's what it boils down to. O blood is less prone to forming dangerous clots that can lead to heart attacks and strokes. AI-driven analysis of hospital records confirms this trend, revealing that O individuals are often underrepresented in severe clotting emergencies compared to other blood groups. So, yes, there's a genuine heart health bonus associated with type O. But the story doesn't end there. The immune system's response is also influenced by blood type. People with O blood often demonstrate robust immune responses, which may explain their historical resilience against infections like malaria, as we talked about earlier. However, this strength comes with a trade-off. These same immune characteristics can make O individuals more vulnerable to severe reactions when they do become ill. For example, O types have shown a higher susceptibility to severe symptoms from certain viral infections, such as norovirus, the dreaded stomach flu. AI models have even detected subtle differences in how O subgroups respond to common colds and influenza. indicating that O immunity isn't a single superpower, but a combination of strengths and weaknesses. COVID-19 further underscored this complexity. Early studies hinted that O blood types might be slightly less susceptible to severe COVID symptoms, and AI-powered models largely confirmed the trend. But even within the O group, AI identified variations in outcomes. Some O subtypes appeared to fare better than others, highlighting the dangers of oversimplifying the relationship between blood type and health. And what about the potential impact on fertility? For years, doctors observed that women with type O seem to have lower ovarian reserves compared to those with A or B. Some worried that this meant O blood might decrease fertility. However, AI's in-depth analysis of fertility clinic data offers a more nuanced perspective. While O individuals may sometimes exhibit lower egg counts, they don't necessarily experience significantly reduced pregnancy success rates when treatments are considered. So, the impact on fertility appears to be less dramatic than initially feared. But let's also debunk some cultural myths. You might have heard that certain personalities are associated with different blood types, especially in cultures like Japan and South Korea. And while that makes for some fascinating icebreaker convos, AI's deep dives into personality surveys reveal absolutely zero connection between personality and blood type. AI is also changing how we approach medical treatments. O-negative blood remains the universal donor, but AI has found that even within O transfusions, some O carriers produce antibodies that can cause reactions in patients. These were seen as random flukes in the past, but AI revealed it was complexity that was missed. So, what's the takeaway? If you're blood type O, you're neither invincible nor doomed. You might have a slightly lower risk of heart attack but face a higher risk of digestive issues. You might be more resistant to malaria but more vulnerable to norovirus. Like everything in human biology, it's a balancing act. And that's where the future of personalized blood medicine comes in. Imagine a world where doctors don't just see O positive on your chart, but have a detailed AI-generated profile of your specific antigen structure and how it interacts with your genetics, diet, and immune system. This level of detail could revolutionize preventive care, personalize medication choices, and even tailor vaccines to your specific O subtype. Furthermore, AI could optimize organ transplantation outcomes for O individuals, who often face longer wait times due to compatibility restrictions. AI algorithms could analyze vast transplant databases to identify the most suitable donor-recipient pairings and minimize the risk of rejection. Even more futuristic, AI could guide gene editing technologies to modify donor organs and make them universally compatible. As we continue to collect and analyze more data, AI will undoubtedly reveal even more insights into the intricate relationship between blood type O and health. The blank canvas of O is turning out to be a surprisingly detailed map, guiding us toward a future of truly personalized medicine. So, the next time someone tells you they're just blood type O, remember there's nothing simple about it. It's a fascinating, complex story written in your genes. And we're only just beginning to understand it. Thanks to the power of AI.